All right, what is up, you guys? It is your boy HamzaConnection coming at you live. Well, I got some really awesome news. All right, so you may have noticed one thing that is my voice is a lot smoother. It's a lot more clearer, and the quality of my voice is just top notch. And that's because in the place that I'm working at, they have a studio. And I asked a friend of mine, and he was like, "You can borrow the mic in the studio if you want to do your podcast episodes." And I was like, "Hell yeah! I want to borrow a mic." And this mic cost, I don't know, $500. It's in Danish kroner, like 2,500 or something like that. It's probably like $500, I think, when I'm doing my head calculation, around $500. So it's a pretty damn expensive mic. And right now, my surroundings, if you guys could see, this is a podcast episode, but either way, man, if you guys could see that I'm actually in a studio, and it's fucking crazy. I am super psyched and super happy for this opportunity. I have no idea. I had no idea. Let me just put it like that. How to set up this mic. I had absolutely no fucking clue on how to set up this mic. I called my friend, but he didn't pick up. So I had to Google it, and I was like, how the fuck do you set up this mic? I have no idea. And Google didn't help me much, so I just tried a bunch of different settings because this is my first time in a real studio. And I was like, why is this connected to the speaker? Why is this connected here? And then I just saw a bunch of cable, like 80% of those cables that were here in the studio was of no use for me. So I just disconnected them because I just need the mic. I don't need the mixer. I have no idea on how the mixer works and why those things were connected to the speakers and all of that stuff. So I just disconnected everything. And this is just like my update for this journey so far. So what I'm planning, since I can use this mic every weekend, I'm planning on recording my podcast episodes using this mic, because one of the feedbacks that I got from my audience was that the sound quality is not that good. So I'm slowly trying to improve. And this goes on to the whole concept that I wanted to do with this podcast episode, that I just wanted to document the journey of me like making this podcast episode. So now I think I made like 50 podcast episodes using a shitty mic, and I was like, okay, cool, let's see what happens and all of this stuff. Thus far, like what I've learned from creating 50 podcast episodes was I learned how to systematize a lot of things. So whenever I'm doing thumbnails, when I'm recording, it was a lot easier to just record multiple podcast episodes at once and then give them separate titles and all of that stuff. Because once you start recording and you start talking into the mic, you sort of get into a flow. So it gets a lot easier to do, like, oh, I want to do this podcast episode. I want to do a podcast episode on this topic and all of that stuff. So all the ideas just sort of flows through and all of that stuff. And if you only record one, then I feel like you sort of lose that juice and you have to like start the motor again, you could say. So that's definitely a hack that I learned. And also I found myself, like, when I'm talking into the mic, I just like to do that for a long extended time to get into flow. And then when I am editing thumbnails and all of this stuff, I just like to edit multiple thumbnails, because I think it's a principle called bulking tasks together, similar tasks. So instead of making one thumbnail, I would make 5 thumbnails from the 5 podcast episode I just recorded. And also when editing the sound and all of that stuff, you like just learn the software that you're using. Like right now, I'm using like a shitty software. I'm using the inbuilt software on a Windows. So basically that's shit, but that's all I need right now until like the podcast grows and all of the stuff. Then I want to invest in something else. So I want, like, my challenge for myself is to make it as minimalistic as possible, because I am not wanting to go around and buy a bunch of stuff like a studio mic like this and all of that stuff. So it's more gonna be like the hustle, like what can I do leveraging like my connection and the people that I know and all of that stuff in order to create this show, because you may not know somebody who has a studio mic, but I didn't start with a studio mic, and now I got one because a friend of mine let me use the studio. But that means that I have to come in on the weekends, but that doesn't matter because I like fucking shooting these podcast episodes. So it's kind of cool. I get to spend today is Sunday. So I get to spend some Sunday in afternoon on all of the stuff at my workplace recording podcast episode. I feel like that's kind of cool. So that's my journey this far. Like what will be happening in the future will be, I'll probably be using this mic as so long as I'm allowed to and all of the stuff, and record more podcast episodes from you guys. Like now it's like 2020. And all the other episode was from 2019. So I've learned quite a lot, like through my experience and all of that stuff. There was some like breakup going on that really helped me and like look really deep into myself and all of that stuff. I want to share that kind of stories with you. There are some business things that I'm currently learning right now, and some job things and all of that stuff. I want to tell you more about in this. In the upcoming episode of this podcast. And I'm also thinking about reshooting like the old ones that I did, because the old one had such a shitty quality. It's okay, I can diss my own podcast. They had such a shitty quality, so I'm thinking about reshooting it. Obviously, as you guys already know, if you've watched this far, that I don't use a script, so I just turn on the mic and speak. So I don't really wanna like do a script and say the exact same thing that I did on the other podcast episode. But I would just take the title, read it off, listen to some of the things that I said, and kind of go off that, and we'll see what sparks from there. So this is my journey this far, and look forward for other podcast episodes and all of that stuff. And that was it. If you like this episode and you are excited as me about the upcoming episodes that's coming, then hit the subscribe button and leave a comment down below if you have any questions, because I actually also want to do like a series where I answer you guys' question. I might actually also do some interviews and all of that stuff. Maybe I can get my CEO to do an interview, or interview some of the designers, because they actually gave me a really good idea. I was talking to them about a really cool idea that they gave me. They were like, hey, so when you grow up and all of that stuff, you have no idea like what a designer is. No, actually that was my idea. I told them like, hey, you have actually no idea what a designer is. Like when you see like, oh, senior art director, like I had no fucking clue what that is. But it would be so cool for me to make a series of like, what do I want to do when I grow up, and then basically interview some of the programmers here, and then you get like a sense of, okay, what the fuck is programming and all of that stuff. They can talk to you about it. I can ask them a lot of questions about that, or design people, or like quality assurance. Like I'm a quality assurance myself. I could tell you about the process there, or something else, man. So let me know if that's something you would be interested in. And that's it for now. It was your boy HamzaConnection, tuning out. Peace.